Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of EETV, where we strive to bring everything in entertainment. I will be reviewing the first two episodes of Velma, so we're going to get straight into it. We're starting off with the first episode entitled with the character Velma, and it starts off with a shower scene, and the show immediately is starting off with a dumpster fire, in my opinion, because they were talking about television shows that seem to have more gratuitous sex and violence in the pilot episode in order to get people interested. And this is exactly how this show started out, having a nude shower scene and have the girls fighting because they disagreed about the opinion of the show. And then Velma attacking Daphne because they dislike each other. And then they found one of their friends stuffed in a locker with her brains had been removed from her head. So we can see already where this is going. So follow me as we go down the rabbit trail, also known as Velma. Okay. Now, further down the rabbit trail, we get to meet all of the rest of the characters. We meet Fred. We meet Shaggy's counterpart, or what's supposed to be Shaggy, Norville. And, of course, if you're not blind, you have already realized everybody, with the exception of Fred, has been race switch. You know, Velma is no longer a Caucasian female. She's Southeast Asian, just like Mindy Kaling. Shaggy is not even Shaggy. His name is Norville, and he is an black man instead of a white man. And Daphne, even though you can't tell because of the red hair, is an Asian woman. So after going through all that, and after going through this one episode, I can see every stereotype that you can think of that is negative when it comes to people has been turned into a positive. And then every positive stereotype when it comes to people has turned into a negative. Now, one thing that they did do, like for instance, they used the stereotype of lesbians being good at solving murders in cops and TV shows, but at the same time, they used an example that Velma used was like if she was a Caucasian teenager, she would just murder people to get away with it because she knows she can get away with it. Like stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, this is, I don't know if this is an attempt to troll or did they really try to put any creativity into this, because it's just what I'm getting from this show is someone who is super progressive trolling other people who are not progressive through this show. And I'm like, wow, that's what it comes to now. And like this is not going to last long. This is not going to last long. This is only the first episode, and my head is hurting from this. And another thing, if you paid attention, and if you didn't pay attention, that's okay. I'll tell you, all of the popular kids, 2 of them passed away so far. Their names I don't remember, and I'm not rewatching episode 1, and I didn't even write it down in my notes to remember. But 2 of Daphne's friends, the popular kids, were found dead. One of them found in Velma's locker, the other one found dead in Velma's trash can. Both of them had the top of their head cut open and the brains removed. So it's like what? Like just because someone's popular, then they don't have any brains. So they trying to frame Velma? I don't know. And Velma has these hallucinations because her mom left and everything seemed rosy from her end. But then when she thinks about it and we go further into the episode, we find out that, both Velma and her dad were not nice to Velma's mom. And that's could be the reason why she probably left. I mean, I'm just going to take a stab at this. I think maybe Velma's mom is setting her up. because Velma was a brat to her and all, and then so much stuff in here. I don't want. I'll be here all night explaining to you all of the cringeworthy stereotype jokes that they put into this. Oh my gosh! All right, now. And then of course Norville has a crush on Velma, and then Velma's completely not aware of it. And then they switch the other stereotype of the man going after the woman, and he wants to constantly have coitus with her. No, that gets completely flipped around. Daphne is the one that's coitus hungry, and she said she didn't, Fred hasn't even showed her any other affection besides a kiss, and they've been dating for 1 year. Oh gosh. Let me see, is there anything else? Of course, since they 180 Shaggy / Norville, so Norville doesn't take drugs and he's not a coward. And that's all I'm going to say about this. I'm done. I'm fried for this episode. I'm going to go into the second episode, and let's begin with that. Oh, before we go into the next episode, it's just one more thing I want to add about episode 1. They even troll the police when they show up to arrest Fred at the end of the first episode, because they think he's the one that killed the first young lady. And then the cops show up and they shoot him in his legs above the kneecap. I'm like, oh God, they even trolling the police. They shoot it. Oh God, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. This is the biggest troll in history. I don't know how much they spent on this, but basically, this is just, like I said before earlier, this is just someone who spent a lot of money to basically troll anyone who is not progressive in the most expensive way possible. So let's get on with episode 2 finally, and then we can see how much further along this troll goes. So now we're getting in further into episode 2, entitled "The Candy Man," and we find out that Daphne is a drug dealer. And all of the drugs have code names of the outlandish words used in the original Scooby-Doo series. So Zoinks is a drug. God, some lazy writing. I found that one kind of cute. Oh my gosh. All right, look. And more stereotypes are thrown at this thing than snowballs at the child that you don't like in your class. Like I said before, this is the most expensive troll against anybody who is not progressive I have ever seen. I can definitely see it. This is not getting more than one series. I mean, my gosh. I will not be surprised. I'll tell you this right now. I'll make this prediction even with episode 2. I will not be surprised if Scooby shows up in some manner and he's either some sort of fever dream or maybe the mascot of a rival school when they start getting into like the sports episodes, because they've been making fun of all the athletes and everybody. I can see them using Scooby-Doo as a darn mascot for either their school or one of the other schools, to poke fun at him. Because that's something that people actually enjoy, the talking dog, so we'll just make fun of that and hose that over too. My gosh, the more jokes about Fred's size is mentioned again. The fact that all rich Caucasian people or babies and they can't take care of themselves, that's thrown out there as well. the joke with where Daphne and Velma are in the bathroom, and they're telling the reason why, if you're a minority, you can only use drug dealing to escape poverty. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I like the original Scooby-Doo series. It was. I'll just say this: somebody must have been high when they wrote this. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through it. Like, just bear with the video if you're listening to this, and I'm gonna go and review the rest of this episode. So, going with the rest of the episode, Velma's father is defending Fred, and they're going with the cliche case, the cliche thing that they think all people who have a law degree do. Everybody thinks Fred is some evil sociopath. So now they are playing up that he's more boyish like and innocent. So when he appears at the courthouse, he is dressed in 1920s boy attire for a tot, wearing sky blue jacket and the orange tie that was the same color of his signature ascot, shorts, socks that goes up to the knee, and loafers. And his hair is styled in the manner of you would see children or tots from the 1920s, complete with multicolored pinwheel. My goodness, someone's brain was fried, or they're so juiced up on hatred from the other side of the American culture that they can't stand, that they have decided to dial this thing up to 11 to embarrass anything that the writers do not like. So the cliche continues. So after that part, during the rest of that scene, it starts. The journalists believe that Fred couldn't have killed the two teen girls because he deems to look so innocent. So going on with the rest of the scene, it begins to rain, and when it rains, I kid you not, it rains. His makeup is washed away, his hair is flattened, and he had on falsy eyelashes. They run off of his face, and some of the falsy eyelashes stop underneath his nose to create the trait to completely emulate the trademark tiny mustache that Austrian guy had when he ruled over Germany. And he even was posing in such a way, I mean, they did the pose differently so they wouldn't get in trouble with the Jewish community, because he has his fingers pointed differently. But then they have him looking like the guys and the guy who used to rule Germany, and with the backwards Manji symbols during the raining, and he's screaming like, don't take any pictures unless it's in portrait mode. Oh, because he's rich and he's Caucasian and he's vain, and now he looks like you know who now. And it's like, oh my gosh, they completely, they are 10 toes in with this. My gosh. All right, let me see if I can get into the rest of this. And before I move on for that scene, They even added at the end the bystander saying that he looked like that guy who used to run Germany. And they said, oh, he doesn't look like him just because he looks like him, but not because we compare everybody that don't agree with us and we hate to him nowadays. They even threw in that extra troll. I'm like, oh gosh, like you can't even use cringe at this point. It's like they have taken stereotype 101, turned it up to 11, and then taken the other jokes that and critiques that people would have about this and critique the critiques. Somebody has some issues. The writers have some issues with this one. Let's keep this train wreck dumpster fire going. So we go on to the next scene, and I forgot to mention this too. Like, Daphne has hired Velma because to help her sell drugs, so she can raise up $500, and the price of getting her cold case, Velma getting her mother's cold case filed so she can work and find her mother. And then we get the cliche twist that is done in a cliche way, and then the writers also trolling the cliche way, and they have a twist because Daphne is looking for her family and trying to find out why an Asian girl has hair the color of buffalo wings, and that's why she wants to track this down. And of course, like if you already have known this, of course, Velma is super genius and she knows everything about everything, but she got this one thing wrong about Daphne. And then the two cops who have adopted Daphne were attempting to bust the drug dealer, and since they're older and they're out of touch because they're older, cliche, cops out of touch, the cops are dressed like teenagers from the 90s, but yet it's 2023. But yet this is another way for them to make fun of older people, saying they're out of touch with today's world and still trying to be cool and relevant by trying to do their job. So the trolling continues. Daphne and Velma get busted as drug dealers, but just like how they've taken the stuff from the original Scooby-Doo, her moms cannot see beyond her crappy disguise and tell that's just Daphne and Velma in the hoodie and in a jacket and their hair rolled up in a hat with glasses on. And then they go through the old cliche, a baby in the carriage, but they hit the carriage when chasing after Velma and Daphne, but the baby lands safely on the car. And then we get to see different clubs being offered in the high school of them poking fun of high school life. And then they even threw in the guy. And this is what I was thinking. The guy comes in when Norval was drawing where to cut for his kidney. And when the guy busts in and to bust up the kidney, the organ, the black organ ring, I thought in my head, oh, the guy from the poster. And then as soon as I thought that, then they say it in there, oh, it's the guy from all the wanted posters around town. And I'm like, really? Oh my gosh. They have turned cliche beyond cliche, trolling cliche, trolling, and trolling that troll and trolling that cliche all into one. This series is not I'm fried already. This video is longer than what I have intended it to be, but I am doing my civic duty to make sure that this is longer and getting all the details out here, because I actually sat down and watched this thing. I didn't jump on the bandwagon and like, oh, I hate it because everybody else hates it. No, I sat down, watched both episodes, and it's like 2:00 in the morning and my brain is fried. And it is so fried that I'm going to leave this part in here, and you're probably, whoever's listening to this is going to laugh. I'm not going to edit this part out. Let's continue with this. So after they use a text of Daphne being home and she wants to adopt a sick cat, and they use that to evade her parents. Daphne and Velma touch again for the second time. I didn't bring it up the first time because I was talking about other things, but they touch and they have the tender moment, because the best people who used to be best friends and then not best friends anymore, and then they get into this crisis, always become lovers, by the way. This is exactly what happens. Gosh, this is something else. Oh my gosh, they throwing in trolls at Dawson's Creek. I mean, I've seen them troll every major sitcom so far that I can even think of offhand, along with just throwing in more stuff about the trolling just to keep things relevant, and so you have something to talk about. So let's finish up with this. So we go through the rest of the episode. We get to the trial. Fred's innocence is proven by Velma, but because he doesn't like to be seen as a little boy who can't do anything, he gets all upset. Fred jumps on the table. Blood comes out of the steak all over his face, and he's holding the knife, talking about he can be a big boy and he could have cut the girls' heads off and removed the brains if he wanted to, much to the liking of his dad, because he wants his son to be more of a man. They find him guilty, and then Daphne goes to see Velma. They kiss, and then Norval has his, I can't even be myself, and then he blames rom-coms for him not being able to get the girl that he wants. Close episode. Oh my gosh. Now, I'll say this. I will never tell you what to watch and what not to watch. This is the reason why I went into such detail, even though I greatly dislike the episodes. Go watch the episodes. Yeah, you might find some enjoyment out of it. And if you do, good for you. And if you don't, good for you as well. Just for me, this is my opinion. My goodness, my brain is fried watching those 2 episodes. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel like it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.